Girls, today we are going to see about programming in C. In programming in C, first we are going to see about the functions. So function is one of the concept in C programming languages. If you are taking the C programming language, it is a high level programming language. In the C programming language, we can take functions, pointers, arrays, files. These are the important concepts in the C. First we are going to see about functions. So, introduction to functions. In C, we can divide a large program into a building blocks known as functions. So, functions are nothing but we are dividing the programs into the modules. These modules can be called as a functions. These functions contains a set of programming statements that are enclosed by this flower brackets. A function can be called multiple times to provide reusability and modularity in the C programs. In other words, we can say the collection of functions create a program. The function is also known as the procedures, subroutines in programming languages. Next, advantages of the functions. There are following advantages in C functions. By using functions, we can avoid rewriting the same logic or code again and again in a program. We can call the C functions any number of times in a program and from any places in a program. We can track a large C program easily when it is divided into multiple functions. Next, reusability is the main achievement of the C function. So, function is nothing but it is a modules. If a same statement is to be called or it is to be used in the program multiple times, then that statements can be given inside the bracket. That is called as the flower bracket or flower braces. So, if you give the statement inside a function, whenever we need that statements, you can simply call the functions. No need to write the statements repeatedly. So, when you do like this, then size of the program will be minimized and we can easily understand the program also. So, the same statement can be reusable at many number of times. There is no limitations of using the functions. So, at many number of times you can call that functions and you can use the statements. Next, function aspects. There are three aspects of the C functions. So, these three are the important things in the function. First one, the function declaration, function call, function definition. So, function declaration means nothing but that declaring the function means we are informing that compiler we are going to use this function. So, this function is a user defined name. So, you can give any name to that function. You can give your name. If a name that is followed by the open and the close bracket, then it is called as a function. So, we are informing the compiler that we are going to use this name, this function as function inside the program. So, that is called as a function declaration. In the function declaration, we are giving that we want to note down that main things, that is the function name, parameters and the return type. So, return type, it tells that what type of function, what type of value you are going to return. Next, the parameter means that arguments, what are the values you are going to send inside that bracket. Next, function call. The function call is we are calling the function. Wherever they need that function, we can simply call that function name. So, this function name that followed by the open braces and close bracket, this is called as the function call. So, there is a difference between the function declaration and the function call. The function declaration, it also has the function name with the open bracket, close bracket. Inside that we are declaring that that variables. So, that is called as a parameters and it has a return type also. In the function call, we simply give the function name, open and close bracket with a semicolon. The function declaration, you want to give that semicolon. The next thing, the function definition, we should not give the semicolon. So, function declaration means we are informing the compiler. The function definition means we are explaining that what we are going to do inside that function. So, that actual statements are to be, that statement which are to be executed, that are to be inside that functions. And it is most important aspect to be noted. So, when the function call, this function definition section will be executed. So these three things are very important: function declaration, function call, and the function definition. So function declaration, you want to give the function name and the open and close bracket. Inside that you want to give the parameters and you want to have a return type. In the function call, you are simply giving the function name, open and close bracket, and with the semicolon. Function declaration also you want to give the semicolon. The function definition means we are having that function name and open and close bracket. Inside that you can give the parameters, but you should not give the semicolon at last of the function. If you give the semicolon, it will show the error. The function should not work. Next, there are types of functions. These types of functions are to be categorized into 4 types, and basically we are categorizing the function means we call it as a library function and the user defined function. Library functions is nothing but the built-in functions that are inside that C program. There are some built-in functions that are called as the library functions that to be used. User defined function means we can give a name or you can give any names to that functions. So it reduces the complexity of a big program and it optimizes the codes. Next, return value. So in the return value, it tells the value that you are going to return. So a function may or may not return a value from the function. If you don't have to return any values from the function, you can use the void as its return type. So here we give a void as a return type. So the value is not to be returned. And if you want to return any value from the function, you need to use any data type such as int, long, or character. Then the return type depends on the value to be returned from the function. So here in this example, int get. So here the 10 is an integer type of value that is to be returned. So here there are some examples. So if you are giving the return type as a float, it returns in the float values. So these are the categorization of the functions. So functions are categorized into, and we are categorizing the functions into 4 different types. So function without arguments and without return type. So there is no argument and no return type. Next, without argument and with the return type, and function with arguments and without return type, function with arguments and with return types. So here are some examples according to these categories. So in this, we are in this program. So here we are giving that void print name and void main. Printf hello, print name, void print name, and printf java point, and output hello java point. So if taking this function, the print name is a function name. So here we are not returning any values and we are not passing any parameters. So no parameters and no return value in this program. So if you are taking this program, void sum and void main. So inside the main we are calling that function sum. So void sum is a declaration declaring that function, and sum open bracket and close bracket with a semicolon, that is a function call, and void sum, that is we are defining that functions. So in defining that functions, we are giving the statement what you want to execute. So here we are not passing any parameters, but we are returning the values. Next one. So in this program also we are not passing this any parameters, but we are returning the values. So we are returning the value of a plus b. Next one. So here int even underscore odd. So int, inside that bracket we are giving the int. So that is a parameter. So we are giving the parameters, but we are not returning any values. So in the last statement here we are returning the values. So we are passing the parameter and at the same time we are returning the values. So next one, we are giving the library functions. So far we are categorizing the functions into 4 types, that is without arguments, without return value, without argument return value, with arguments and without return value, with arguments and with return value. So next we are going to see about this library functions. So library functions are the inbuilt functions in the C that are grouped and placed at the common place called as the library. Such functions are used to perform some specific operations. For example, printf is a library function used to print on the console, and library functions are created by the designers of the compilers. All C standard library functions are defined inside the different header files, say with the extension .h. We need to include these header files in our program to make use of the library function defined in such header files. So for example, to use a library function such as the printf or scanf, we need to include stdio.h in our program, which is the header file that contains all the library functions regarding the standard input as well as the output. So we go through that functions. So in this we understand that the functions that minimize the number of codings, so it gives a portability to the programs, and the functions are to be commonly called as a library functions, and we have a user defined functions, and we see that categories of these functions. What are the 4 categories of the functions we saw? So if you have any doubt, you call me. Thank you.